Thank you very much. Next up we have Vicky Bal Sir. Vicky Bal is a partner in the management consulting and a motorsport enthusiast based in the New Delhi. He has around 15 years of cross-functional experience in strategy consulting, performance improvement, operation and project management. He specializes in strategy formulation and implementation of top-line transformation initiatives and has worked in various verticals such as automotive, industrial, power and manufacturing. He will enlighten us today about future of experimental learning model, FDP. Over to you, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I've been working in consulting as an industry for the past 15 years. I just parted ways with my last organization yesterday, and I'm joining a new organization on Monday, so that's why I could not mention any organization names per se of where do I actually work. But my last organization was Grant Thornton, where I have been a partner for a couple of years, leading the sales transformation practice within management consulting. So I know these keywords might sound, what exactly is management consulting, what is sales transformation, and why am I talking about those, but everything is actually interconnected to productivity of our people who work with us. Consulting as a service is sold, my product is hours. So what client buys is man hours at the end of the day. It's as crude as that. But the value that we deliver and what we get paid for is the productivity that every person gives per hour and the value that every person creates per hour for my client. Just to give you an example, we can potentially create 150 crore additional revenue for a client within 6 months. We have done that. We have envisaged a $5 billion project for a client within 12 months, giving him absolutely detailed analysis of where to put the plant, who to tie up with, how the products are going to get manufactured, and what would the $1 billion revenue look like, and who will be your clients, and so on and so forth. It's very, very difficult, very, very exciting industry altogether. And if I position industries globally who create value, I think I always position consulting as the second, the top one being private equity, where people buy and sell companies, and then consulting comes second, where we help companies either on the cost side or the revenue side to transform them completely. All of this requires a lot of skill sets, very niche skills. Like my people can't go and learn on the job. They can't say that, okay, fine, I'm meeting a glass manufacturer based in Gurgaon, and the glass manufacturer tells me that I want to add 500 crores of revenue in the next 18 months. So I won't start by typing it on Google that, okay, how is glass made, where does he sell, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't happen. We need to be on the ground. We need to hit the ground running on day -1, not even day 0. We have to present solutions during our proposal itself. And frankly, all of this is currently taught when a guy joins consulting. There is no course. MBAs, of course, are the ones that we hire, but everyone who joins consulting has to go through a course in itself when they join. Why? Because, of course, they can't be a master's in consulting started by institutes, right? So when I was with Bain & Company about in 2013, all the consultants that they hire globally, every 6 months they get them to one global location to train them from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. Yeah, 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. There's like 4 to 5 hours of sleep every day, 10 days continuously. It's called ACT, Associate Consultant Training. And these are all top-notch MBAs, Stanford, Harvard, Stern, Duke, London Business School. You talk about it, Copenhagen Business School. So every top B school of every country, even people from IIM Ahmedabad, they're all flown into one place. We went to, when I was there, I went to Virginia. And I was told the schedule and I was shocked. I'm like, what's happening, boss? 7 a.m. to 1 a.m.? Like, when am I going to sleep? When am I going to breathe? Is there eating break? And so on. Because I hadn't heard of some, it sounded like an army camp or something. So, but then they explained that, you know, we need you to cut off from the noise. If you are in the noise, which we are constantly looking at our phone, we are distracted with hundreds of things. There's no way you can learn consulting and deliver this value. Even if one decimal goes wrong in an Excel sheet and you tell a private equity company to invest, or you tell Walmart to invest in Flipkart, those are hundreds and millions of dollars worth of decisions that you are driving as an individual. So a lot lies on your shoulder and you have to be serious about this. And there was no break day. They gave us a surprise break day in between. But the point I'm trying to make is, in a room with these kind of round tables, 2 or 3 of them, 4 people on each table, 1 coach on each table, very, very structured curriculum towards becoming, a consulting professional who will succeed for sure in the future. It was amazing. It was the best learning experience of my life. And prior to that, I had done my XLRI MBA. But with all due respect to my institute, I still love it. Those 10 days were more powerful. I won't say more value driving, but very powerful. Those just people, when they walk back to the Washington, D.C. Dulles airport after that training, they are all walking differently. They are talking differently. They are confident about the value that they will be able to drive in this world. And just to give you guys some perspective of the charge rates of McKinsey, Bain, BCGs of the world, it's about $200,000 per week per team. So that's the kind of money that they're charging their clients. So just imagine they have to drive multi-fold value. $200,000 per week for a 3.5 people team is approximately 1.5 crores a week. You hire them for 6 weeks, you have to pay them so much money, almost close to 10 crores. So if they don't drive 30, 40 crores of value within a 6-week work, how are you going to pay them that money? Why will you pay them that money? So those skills of creating immense value, and value creation is what India is now starting on. The path of value creation, given the infrastructure investments, technology investments, ONDC, I was just, while waiting for my turn, I was just reading a 160-page report by McKinsey and ONDC, which has been just published yesterday. And of course, 160 pages was a lot to go through. I haven't been able to. These are all innovations in the direction of creating immense value towards a $5 trillion economy and then a $10 trillion economy. And we see changes all around us. This is the first time I am in this part of Greater Noida, but the amount of infrastructure that has been created while I'm not a frequent traveler to this side, it's amazing. I use the Bombay Expressway, it's amazing. So cities are getting connected, new universities are coming in, people are getting to know about new technologies. All of that is happening great. And I believe that all institutes, educationists, and people in this profession are taking the right steps in terms of collaborations and teaching skills which create value. But there is still a lot of gap that can be fulfilled by industry, academia collaboration, which Sarvesh and others were also talking about. Because if this investment that an organization like a Grant Thornton or an EY or others, they have to still make on an ongoing basis, that means that there is a big gap still that is left from a job ready and value creation ready kind of people that we need. And there are a lot of steps, frankly, that can be taken to do that. Just to give you a couple of examples from a project standpoint, and Sarvesh took a great example of a consulting project that his firm was doing in the UK. When I was working for Vedanta and Mr. Anil Agarwal, I've seen those kind of leaders, who have multi-billion-dollar organizations created. He came from Bihar to Bombay with absolutely nothing, and today he sits in London, and I used to present to him and he used to review my work. And the thinking is very different in my clients and in the kind of projects. So they are, if you're not aware, they're setting up display and semiconductor fabrication facilities in India with about $10 billion investment. And it's a big deal. Like no one even thought that India will ever get these kind of investments. And when you sit and talk to them and try to understand the kind of skill sets they are looking at to create this value, to drive these businesses, because this is not a me too at all. To set up a semiconductor plant in India, there is no engineer that exists in India. You have to import 500 engineers from Taiwan. You have to give them accommodation, they'll sit here, they will. So that's an additional capital expenditure for Mr. Anil Agarwal, for example, or anyone setting up high-tech electronics manufacturing. India's capex factor is 1.5x at least of China. If you'll set up a plant in China for 100 million, in India it will cost 150 million. Same plant, same machinery. Why? There are no service engineers for that machinery. There are no engineers who can be set up that plant. When we spoke to Fluor, Daniels and Jacobs, which are large engineering firms, they said we don't have those skill sets present in India, neither are any institutes teaching them. But now when the government schemes are actually going in that direction, when the government launched the spec scheme and then the semiconductor policy and the display policy, government is saying I'm going to put in $1 billion, but the thought has to go to the level, who's going to do this for me? how is the promoter going to still make money even with this subsidy when there are no skill sets existing? It's a big risk. These kind of value chains of high-tech manufacturing, India is a big assembly house. All the export numbers that we keep seeing of mobile phones and others are all assembled products. There is not a single display. So this display of a phone is actually 25% of the phone's cost. Not a single display is made in the country. All the semiconductors that go behind it, which run the display and the phone, not even one is made in the country. So, but the phone is made in the country. Of course, Samsung makes it, Apple makes it. They're starting to assemble. So the value addition in India is still 15 to 20%. That's it. If a $1,000 phone gets manufactured here, that means we contributed only $200. $800 is still going outside to Taiwan, to Korea, to the US, to Japan and other countries. And they have spent decades to reach there. And those decades have not only been spent in creating industries, but creating skill sets that run those industries. Structured programs, if you study Korea and Chaebols in the 1970s, and if you study the Japanese Industrial Revolution, the focus on the education sector specifically for industries to succeed, such as high-tech manufacturing, for example, was immense. And there's a lot of investment that has to go through that. I'm sure there have been collaborations between industry and the government to set up those shops in the country and to develop these skill sets, because till the time we don't have all of those skill sets coming, either for consulting industry, service industry, manufacturing industry, to hit the ground running on day zero, the value addition will still lie somewhere outside, and the trainings will still happen in a Virginia, and we will still be trained by Americans, and we will still bring that knowledge and try to improve in India. So on that note, a few recommendations that were there in my mind, I would just spell those out. As Sarvesh also said, professors, academia, more integrated collaboration with the industry. So Grant Thornton actually launched a course together with Jagan Institute of Management. It's an MBA, which is co-branded as Grant Thornton Jim's MBA. So this was just done 3-4 months back. I think it's a great step that my ex-firm took to collaborate with a large education institution. I think more and more of these things need to happen to have a ready workforce that hits the ground running on day one. Similarly, for manufacturing, I think the ITI system works very well. There's a lot of skill development happening, and there's a skill development council program that the state governments run. But I think that is for very, very basic skills like forging, casting, those kind of manufacturing, which has been happening in India. Not much of value add. You take a piece of steel and turn it into a product. But as we go more high tech and as we want to bring more of these value chains in the country, I think the investments have to go there in training people, in them understanding these value chains. How do these interact with each other and create value together? And the third, but not the least, I think, is the government push, which I think this particular government for the last decade or so has been doing, taking all steps in the right direction, let it be on the fiscal side or on the education side. They're creating the right infrastructure that we need. But I think another push is required along with their schemes, that you can subsidize a plant, but if you don't have people who can work there and make the plant succeed, then the country will still, these plants will still not come up on time, and we'll still have those value chains lying outside the country. So on that note, thank you so much for listening to me, and thanks Kamal for inviting me.